almost finished the topic of warrants for traffic control devices, and I told you that the one which is left is for signals, which we will do in the end. And then we discuss three types of traffic signals we have. With the warrants, we also discuss the criteria of the sight distance and how we can calculate this criteria for uncontrolled uh, intersections as well as two-way stop control intersections. And then we discussed the three types of signals, okay, which was pre-timed, semi-actuated or actuated coordinated, and fully actuated. Okay. Now we will focus more on the aspect of pre-timed signals, because that can be done manually. For other types of um, signals, you need to have. We will also see coordinated as well. We'll also see coordinated as well in the next topic. But for fully actuated, it must be done with the software or something. So, and obviously, once you know the pre-timed, the concepts of the pre-timed, then you can easily do the calculations for, you know, fully actuated as well. As far as the calculations are concerned, you will be done. Okay, if you know pre-timed signals and how to calculate the timings for pre-timed signals, fully actuated signals can also be considered same. That the only thing is that you have to consider varying volumes. And the example you can see here, for example, you have a pre-timed signal. Okay, I'm sharing. I'm not sharing. Not sharing. Okay, so you can see the example of a pre-timed signals, how the timings are changed according to volumes. Okay, so they have basically developed four plans. Okay, plan 1, you can see here the name of the plan. Plan 1 is for low volume conditions. Okay, so here and here plan 1 is operated, and plan 2 is for moderate volume conditions. So you can see here and here and here plan 2 in the yellow region. Plan 2 is being adopted, and plan 3 and 4 are for high volume conditions. So within high volume conditions you have two plans. Okay, maybe for different directions, or it can be seen here that even in high volume conditions, this one is slightly higher and this one is highest. Okay, so in the high volume range they have like two plans. So you can see the timings here. Okay, so if you develop all the plans for different volume conditions, then you know the minimum green time and the maximum green time which should be given. Okay, and the minimum cycle time and the maximum cycle time which should be given. Now the only thing remaining is to program it in the control of the signal, and that becomes an fully actuated signal. Okay, so in pre-timed signal, you are just giving a set of timings for a specific time of the day. Okay, but in actuated signals you are giving the whole range, and the signal will change its timing according to the volume it is receiving at that time. Okay, and sometimes you have, so for example they are giving some examples here, that the timing plans may be changed for weekend traffic near a shopping mall, because weekend traffic near a shopping mall will be way higher than any other traffic, or any special events near a sporting or concert events. We have recently the example of the F1 Formula 1, right, or the street network which is adjacent to an arena. Okay, so in these cases you may need special timing plans. Okay, when you are developing the timing plans, there are some basic concepts and some definitions here. So basically we have 8 protected movements. Okay, through and left basically. So through from each side and left from each side. So we have 4 sides. Okay, so each side has 2 protected movements, through and left. Okay, and then you can have 6 possible movement combinations. I will show you, okay, in the next slide. uh, these are the normal, okay, normal conditions. Okay, normal conditions for developing the movement plan. Obviously, you can think of any innovative way, and then you can have more than 6 combinations as well, and you may have more than 8 protected movements as well. Okay, like I told you, I have seen a intersection in Bahrain where even the right turning is protected. Okay, and in Saudi Arabia, I think it is becoming more common that the right turnings are protected. You have to follow a signal for the right turn as well. Pedestrians are shown with the phase sequence. So when you are showing the phasing sequence, you will also show the movement of the pedestrians. Okay, in which phase the pedestrians can move from a particular direction. Bicyclists, then bicyclists may be, now pedestrians, we know they will be crossing the intersection, right? They will be crossing the intersection. With bicyclists, you can have 2 types of movements. They may be moving along the road. Okay, then you will treat them with the vehicles. So the same sequence which is given for the vehicles, the same phase which is given for the vehicles will be given for the bicyclists as well. Okay, so if they have a separate lane, like in the Zallaq area, they have a separate lane for bicycles. So in that case, bicyclists, when they are moving across the intersection, they will be treated with the vehicles. So they will be moving with the vehicles, but they're in their own lane. Or they can be treated with pedestrians. If they are moving on the sidewalks, then they will cross the road or cross the intersection with the pedestrians. Okay, so if they are allowed to move on the sidewalks, they will be moved with the sequence of the or the phase of the pedestrians, and if they are allowed to move in a separate lane beside the vehicles, then they will be treated with the vehicles. We have 12 possible movements. So I told you 8 are protected, then we have total 12. Okay, including the right turnings, right? So we have 4 sides. Each side had 3 movements, right, 2 and left. Okay, so 3 into 12, 4. Oh, sorry, 3 into 12, 12 movements. Okay, each phase you have to assign a timing. Okay, and like I said, if you are designing an actuated signal, then you will assign the minimum and maximum. Then you will assign the minimum and maximum. Okay, so the process, like you have to repeat it multiple times with the minimum value and the maximum value. Okay, the minimum value of the volume will give you minimum timing, the maximum will give you maximum timing. Okay, but the procedure can be the same. Full sequence of phases is known as a cycle. When signal completes all its phases, it's a cycle, and a cycle length is the time taken to complete all the phases. Okay, so you have a cycle, okay, which is the process of completing all the phases, and the cycle length, which is the time to complete this process. Okay, this is a phasing sequence example. Okay, it's just an example. Okay, as I said, you can develop your own using any innovative approach. Okay, this is not the only signal timing sequence, okay, or the phasing sequence. So you can see here, if you go along the horizontal line, you have 4 phases basically. You see this one, these are the 4 phases. Okay, basic 4 phases. So we have the 2 left turns, then we have the 2 straights. This is for east and west, and then we have the 2 left turns and the straights for north and south. Okay, so these are the 4 phases. This is the basic plan with 4 phases. Obviously, then you may feel, for example, you may feel that the left turning movement from east going to south is higher. For example, okay, you feel that the left turning movement from going from east to south is higher, then you may continue this movement in the next phase as well. So it will go like this. Okay, so it will go like this, and then here. Okay, similarly, if you feel the other left turning is higher, then you may go like this, and so on. Okay, and same thing can be done on this side of on the right hand side as well. If you want to continue the left turning in the next phase as well, then you may go like this. Okay, or you may go like this. Okay, so in total you can see 8 phases. Okay, the basic are 4, which can be completed horizontally, but if you want to extend any left turning into the next phase, then you may go up or down. Okay, depending upon which left turning you want to extend. Okay, and as I said, this combination or this sequence is just an example. Okay, you want to try something else, go ahead. Okay, the only thing is what? The only thing is that you must complete all the 8 protected movements, okay, safely. You must complete all the 8 protected movements safely. Okay. Then some terminologies here. So interval, the amount of time allocated within a phase when the indications do not change. The amount of time allocated to within a phase where the signal indications do not change. So any indication does not change. Okay, that is the interval. So for example, you have the green interval. Okay, so you see the green time. Okay, so the amount of time when the signal remains green, it will also not change for the other sides as well. Keep it in mind. We are referring to one phase. For example, I am saying that in this particular phase, this side is receiving green, for example. This side is receiving green. That also means no other side is operating. Okay, that also means that other sides are receiving the red time, and no other side will change its indication until this green change to something else. Okay, no other side will change if this green doesn't change to something else. Or yeah, you can have overlapping as well. You can have overlapping as well, but that will also be considered as another interval. Okay, that will also be considered as another interval. So you have this green, and then maybe with this green, this side also becomes green. After maybe few seconds, this side also becomes green. Okay, so that is another interval. This is still green. You see here, this is still green. What I'm saying here is this is still green, but at the same time you have the green from the other side as well. Okay, so this is a new interval now. This is a new interval. Okay, although this one is not changing, but the other side has changed, so this is a new interval. Okay, so whenever you have indication, any change in signal indication from any side, that's the start of a new interval. Okay, now for this particular intersection, this is what we call as a ring diagram. Okay, we have studied in traffic engineering course as well, but I will just refresh your minds that this is a ring diagram. So every side of the signal is shown in a different box. Okay, even if they are operating in the same phase, but since they are on the different approaches, we will show them in different boxes. If they are happening in the same phase, then you will see them with parallel boxes, and if they are happening in different phases, then you will see them in boxes besides each other. Okay, so you can see these two, they are happening in the same phase, so you can see two parallel boxes. So these two left turnings are happening in the same phase. Okay, and then these two again in the same phase but different approaches, so you see parallel boxes, and then this one happens in one phase, this one happens in the other phase. Okay, so there's nothing here, right? There's nothing here because no other approach is operated with this one. Okay, if there was another approach operating with this phase, then I would have mentioned it here. Okay, so this is a ring diagram. So what I was saying that, okay, so this is when this side is receiving the green, this is one interval. When this side receives the yellow, it is another interval. When this side receives the red, it is another interval, and so on and so forth. Then we have the phase split, the amount of time within the cycle where one or more traffic movements are allowed to move through the intersection. So basically the time which you give for one phase, in that particular one phase, a specific movement is moving through the intersection. A specific movement is allowed to move through the intersection, and this time consists of green and yellow and red interval for a particular movement. Green, yellow and red interval for a particular movement. Okay, so this is one phase. This is one phase for a particular movement. So If you come here, then we have the same phase for this left turn and this left turn. Okay, so the green, yellow, and red for this movement or this movement, because they are the same, will be one phase. It will be one phase split. Okay, and so on and so forth. Then we have the cycle, which is, I think I should have written cycle length here. Okay, cycle length basically. Total amount of time, all phases that do not overlap. Okay, one complete where they complete one sequence. Okay, why the overlapping is mentioned here separately. We will come to it when we are looking at the examples. Okay, when we are looking at the examples, then it will be more clear. Okay, but here the time taken for non-overlapping phases to complete the movement. Just for overlapping, why the overlapping is not considered here, I will give an example. For example, if you say this left turning will be, now I cannot explain it here. So for example, let me go back. Okay, now you see this left turning is overlapping here, then the top box here, the left turning is overlapping. Okay, so if you add the time for left turning approach, if you add the time for these two phases, okay, then you will this left turning will be will be counted twice. Okay, this left turning will be counted twice. So when you will add up the time, the total time will be more than the cycle length. Okay, the total time will be more than the cycle length because you counted it twice. You counted the left turning twice. Okay, so that's why we are avoiding the overlapping phases. We are avoiding the overlapping phases. For example, if you just add these four phases, the one along the horizontal line, okay, then these are not overlapping. You will get the total time which is equal to the cycle length. Okay, because this particular phase is happening where? Okay, it is overlap. So it is overlap between this one and this one. Okay, it is overlap between this and this. Let's say 1 and 2. Okay, same movements are happening, right? Same movements are happening. So if you count it here and then you count it again, then you are counting the left turning in one twice, one and this one twice, and then you are counting the straight movement in this one and the box number 2 again twice. Okay, so you will get the total time which is more than the actual cycle length. So we don't want to count the overlapping phases here because obviously movements are being repeated. Okay, so we don't want to repeat the time. Okay, then we have lane group. Lane group, one or more lanes on an approach that operate together under the same phase. So you have one phase in which one or more lanes are operating from the same approach. This is what all those lanes will be under one lane group. All those lanes will be under one lane group. Okay, so for example, this left turning is one lane group because it is happening in this phase. Okay, and no other lane is operating in the same phase from this approach. See here, no other lane is operating in the same phase from this approach. So we have only one lane group from this approach, and then the other lane group is from this approach in the same phase. In the same phase, we have two lane groups, one from the eastbound side, the other one from the westbound side. Okay. If you come to phase 2, this one, let me call it phase 2. If you come to phase 2, then again you have two lane groups. You have two lane groups again, one from eastbound, one from westbound. But now each lane group has how many lanes? It has 2 lanes. See here, it has 2 lanes. So each lane group has 2 lanes here because both lanes are operating under the same phase from this approach. Both lanes are operating under the same phase from this approach, and same thing for the westbound as well. Then if you come to the next phase, let me call it 3. So in phase number 3, you have only southbound. Okay, and this is one lane only. Okay, so again in phase number 3, you have only one lane group because no other approach is operating, right? No other approach is operating. So in phase number 3, you have only one lane group. So this is a very good example where you can see two lane groups in one phase. In the first phase, phase number 1, we have two lane groups from the same phase, and each lane group has only one lane. Then in phase number 2, you see two lane groups. Okay, they are in different approaches, and each lane group has two lanes. And phase number 3, one lane group, and that one lane group has only one lane. And phase number 4, the same thing. Okay, one lane group that has only one lane as well. Okay, saturation flow, the maximum number of vehicles that can move past the stop bar in one lane group, okay, per unit of time, which is usually 1 hour. And I think I have discussed earlier that saturation flow rate is basically theoretical value, because you do not have, you know, per hour. You do not have per hour of green. You do not have 1 hour of green. So the saturation flow rate is the ideal value if you do not consider the red time and the time which is lost because of the signal. Okay, then you can achieve saturation flow rate. Lane group capacity, maximum vehicular flow that you can have from one lane group under the given signal timing. So this is the actual capacity now. This is the actual capacity. Okay, the actual capacity of the lane group with the signal timing now. So you could have had, for example, 2000 vehicles per hour without the signal, but with the signal from a particular lane group, you may have only 800 vehicles per hour. Then you have volume to capacity ratio, which is the actual volume upon the capacity of the lane group. The actual volume upon the capacity of the lane group. Okay. So if volume capacity ratio, okay, question, volume capacity ratio should be how much? How much should be the volume capacity ratio? Volume is the actual volume you have, and capacity is the maximum you can have. So volume capacity ratio should be what?
80%.
Less than 1. Good. Okay, less than 1. If you reach 1, that is very critical, and more than 1 obviously means that, you know, demand is no longer under control. Okay, some more signal terminologies: lost time, wasted time, when no vehicles are moving through the intersection. So basically no vehicles. Okay, keep it in mind, they are saying no vehicles. They are not saying vehicles from a particular approach are not moving. So do not take the red time as the lost time, because when one direction has a lost when one direction has a red time, some other direction may have the green time or the yellow time. Okay, so there is only a small amount of time in which no vehicles are moving, no vehicles from any direction. Okay, so that is the lost time, and we will discuss what does it mean. Lost time per phase is given by a small l. So this is not I. Okay, this is small l. Okay, it looks like an I, but I cannot have it. So this is small l. So lost time in one phase is considered as small l, and lost time for the whole cycle is considered as capital L. Okay, so you add the lost time of all the phases, you will get capital L. Effective green time, usable phase time, okay, or the total phase time minus the lost time. Simple, right? Total phase time minus the lost time. Critical lane group. So we have seen in the previous example that you may have more than one lane group in a phase. Okay, like you had for phase 1 and 2. Which one? So in phase 1, which of them will be the critical lane group? The lane group which has the highest volume capacity ratio, or the highest volume saturation flow rate ratio. It means the same thing. Okay, or they are used in the same manner. So highest V by C ratio or highest V by S ratio. Okay, and so if this left turn has the highest V by S ratio, then this will become the critical lane group, and vice versa. Okay, same thing here. Same thing here as well. Okay. Overlapping, when a movement is allowed during more than one phase, like I showed you with the previous example. Okay, this one. So left turn straight, you can see this is overlapping. Permissive movement, when a movement is allowed only after the opposing movements or pedestrians are cleared. it is indicated with a green ball signal. So when you are basically they are talking about the left turning. Okay, so left turning can be permissive or protected. So permissive means that it will happen when you see the signal is green and there are no pedestrians or nobody from the other side. Okay, so you are taking this left turn. Okay, so if there is no pedestrian crossing from here or no vehicles going in this direction, then you will complete your left turn. Okay, there is no separate indication for you. This is what they mean. Okay, protected movement, then a movement that has a right of way. Okay, so the movement is indicated with a green arrow. Okay, so that means you are giving the green arrow for this left turning. That means these pedestrians may be having some sort of indication that you cannot move, and these vehicles will also be having red. Okay, so this movement will have the complete right of way because now you have designed it in a protected manner. Okay, so when this movement is happening, no other movement is happening. Okay, protected permissive movement. Okay, which is protected and permissive during different times of the signal cycle. Okay, so in one signal cycle it is permitted, in another signal cycle it is protected. Okay, so you have different timing plans which are operating in different times of the day. So in one particular timing plan you have this movement as protected, in another timing plan you have it permissive. As far as I am concerned, I don't know where you can employ it, but this is very confusing. This will be very confusing. Okay, then we have leading sequence and lagging sequence. Leading sequence is when you have, okay, in both cases, leading sequence is when protected turning is allowed before the through movement. Okay, when protected turning is allowed before the through movement, that is leading sequence. So the left turning will have the green earlier than the through movement. So this one is a leading sequence. So you can see the left turning has phase 1, so it is happening first, and then the through movement will happen. Okay, so this is a leading sequence. This is a leading sequence. Now if I switch this, I replace 2 with 1. Okay, so 2 will happen first and 1 will happen after. Then it will become a lagging sequence. So right now it is leading. If I move this here, if I switch their places, this will become a lagging sequence. Okay, so leading means the turning is leading. Leading and lagging is the indication for the turning. So when the turning has first green, it is leading. When turning has green after the through, it is lagging. Okay, then we have critical movement analysis, which is considered a very easy and quick method of estimating the capacity of the intersections. Okay, for estimating the capacity of the intersections, critical movement is applied. Critical movement analysis is applied. It is like you can complete in like 5 minutes. The sort of analysis which you can complete in 5 minutes. What is the main principle behind doing this analysis? You have two conflicting vehicles, okay, which cannot be at the same time at the same point. Two conflicting vehicles, which are going in different directions, cannot be at the same point at the same time. Okay, this is the basic principle. And then the saturation flow rate is calculated as 3600 upon H. Okay, now what is H here? Can somebody tell me what is H here?
Headway.
Yes, headway. Okay, and we use a minimum headway here. So basically, we call it saturation headway. Okay. So saturation flow rate is calculated in this manner. Okay, 3600 upon H. So H is the seconds. Okay, seconds per vehicle, and we have, I think we have discussed in the previous chapter as well. Okay, so 3600 is the total time in the hour. So 3600 upon time taken by one vehicle, you will get number of vehicles in 1 hour. Okay. In critical movement analysis, you have saturation value is adjusted for the lost time, which is taken as 20%. Okay, so again, it's a typical value, recommended value. If you want to calculate your own loss time and find out how much adjustment you should make, go ahead. Okay, they are just giving a recommended value. So whatever saturation value you get from here, you will adjust it using a 20% reduction. Okay, for the loss time. Okay, where we can use critical movement analysis. So critical movement analysis is just a supportive analysis. It's just a supportive analysis. It is not used for the main design of the signal. Keep it in mind. But it is very helpful in so many things, in so many ways. You can do planning level or quick estimation of capacity of the intersection. So I want to design an intersection. I want to estimate very quickly what will be the capacity, so I can compare between different alternatives. So I don't have much time for that. I can use critical movement analysis. You can find out the adequacy of the geometry of the approach of the intersection. How many lanes, mainly, how many lanes should be provided. Development of initial signal phasing plans and green times. So you are just trying something. Okay, I will do the analysis, detailed analysis later on about the delay in stops and these things. Right now, I want to find out if I go with this phasing plan, is it better than this one or that one? Okay, so you have like 3-4 possible ways in which you can develop the phasing plan, and you want to see which one is the best. Okay, just you want to see your approach. Okay. You are doing calculations using software. I think we discussed in the first chapter as well. Okay, you are doing calculation using the software, and the problem with the software is you cannot know whether it's giving you the right results or not. Maybe there is some equation which is not applicable in your case, some factors for which you need to change the values and you forgot about it, or you didn't know about it. So in that case, you calculate the capacity using critical movement, and you check it with the software results. If they are, obviously they will not be exactly equal, but if they are similar or they are reasonably close, then you can say, okay, I am doing the right thing with the software as well. Okay, and performing quick and efficient alternative evaluation. Like I have mentioned, you want to see if I change different lanes, different number of lanes, what will happen. If I change the phasing plan, what will happen, and so on. Okay, these are the 6 steps that you need to follow for critical movement analysis. Identify movements and hourly volumes per lane. Okay, first of all, how many movements are possible through the intersection? Obviously, you can have 3-leg intersection as well. In that case, one approach is not there. Okay, and find out hourly volumes per lane adjusted to peak 15 minutes. Adjusted to peak 15 minutes. So when you adjust hourly volume to peak 15 minutes, how do you do it? What adjustment we apply to hourly volume for peak 15 minutes? Tell me. We did it in the previous topic as well, when we were calculating with the volumes given for the freeways. What did we do? How do you adjust hourly volume for peak 15 minutes? Tell me.
By using the peak hour factor.
Heavy vehicle.
Peak hour factor.
Peak hour factor, yes. Peak hour factor. Yeah. Peak hour factor is the adjustment for peak 15 minutes, right? I did not say the heavy vehicle. The heavy vehicle adjustment factor is for heavy vehicle adjustment, right? Okay. So then you assign movements to phasing sequence. Okay, so you develop a phasing plan, and you see which movement will happen in each phasing plan. Determine critical volume pair in each interval. Okay, the highest movement pair. Okay, pair means the conflicting movements. The conflicting movements which will cross a point, across a point. The conflicting movement across a point. So you have this left turn, okay, and you have this straight. Okay, so this will be the critical volume pair. This will be the critical volume pair because it will cross from a point, right? And they are conflicting with each other. Then you sum the critical volumes for the phasing sequence. Okay, so each phase will have its own critical volume, and then you add them together. Identify maximum critical volume. Okay, the theoretical total volume past a point. Okay, so this is taken as 1400 vehicles per hour normally, and in highway capacity manual, its value is given as 1530 vehicles per hour per lane. Again, these are recommended values. If you want to calculate your own value, then you can use the loss time and capacity for calculating these values. Okay, so you calculate the capacity as the saturation flow rate, then deduct the loss time, and then you can have this maximum critical volume. Okay, so this is step 5. So step 5, if you are not using recommended values, then you will do some calculation using the loss time and maximum volume of the saturation flow rate. Otherwise, just take the recommended value. Okay, then find out the critical volume capacity ratio and find out the intersection status of the intersection. Okay, so volume capacity ratio, if it is less than 0.85, we call it under capacity. Low to medium delays, obviously we are talking about a signal, so delay cannot be 0. Okay, but if the volume capacity ratio is less than 0.85, delay is considered to be up to medium, and the queuing will be minimum. The number of vehicles in the queue will be very low. If it is between 0.85 to 0.95, it is near capacity. You may expect high delays. Okay, but still the queuing will be not excessive. Okay, if it is 0.95 to 1, then this is capacity. You can see here, even if you are very close to capacity, so actually 1 is the capacity, right? 1 is capacity, but when you have exceeded 0.95, you are very close to capacity, so we call it capacity conditions. We call it capacity conditions because now any small minor change in driver behavior can cause the traffic jam. Okay, any small behavior in driver behavior, any small change in driver behavior can cause long traffic jams and so on. Okay, and it will you can expect very high delays, and the queues may not, some of the queues may not get clear. Okay, not get clear means they will not be able to pass during the green time. So some of the queue will be waiting for more than one red time, more than one cycle of the signal. So there you are in the queue, signal becomes green, you come closer to the signal, but you are not able to pass. Okay, so from 0.95 onwards this happens. Okay, and obviously when you are above 1, then you are over capacity, very high delay, and excessive queuing. Now this is, you can see all queues will be excessive now. All queues will not clear. In each signal cycle, you will have queue which will not clear. You will have vehicles which are waiting from the previous cycle. Okay, from 0.95 to 1, some of the queues will not clear, but when you go over 1, no queues will be cleared. Okay. Okay, now let us consider this example for critical movement analysis. There are 4-legged intersection. The lane geometry is given. Okay, and all left turns are protected. Okay, and we have to find out the volume capacity ratio basically, so that we can know whether it is operating below capacity or over capacity or at capacity. Okay, so we have to find out the volume capacity ratio, and we will use critical movement analysis for this one. Now the problem is I will not be able to finish it. I will not be able to finish it. Okay, we'll do it next time. Do tomorrow. So I have 2 examples. I will do them both together.